All right, everybody, you know what time it is. The Real Talk Sports Show is coming up right now. All right, everyone, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons, and we thank God for those of you who are watching us here and listening to us on various platforms. We especially are very, very happy to have those of you who are checking us out here on WIGO, the legendary WIGO AM 1570 on your dial. Also, the big way to watch us or listen is WIGO 1570.com. And check us out right there. We'll be more than happy to salute you. If you want to follow us on social media, here we go right here. Here it is. Make sure I get it here. There we go. Follow us on social media anywhere at Real Talk Sports number 7. You can follow me on social media as well at Minister J Sim. That's Minister, the letter J, followed by SIMM. Well, again, guys, we're excited to be back out here again today. It is a wonderful day in the neighborhood. We thought it was going to be really, really cold here in Atlanta, but fortunately it was not. And the weather warmed up, and it will keep us away from any type of slip sliding away with black ice. And that's always a blessing. Well, anytime we do this show, guys, we like to bring on one of the beautiful women in the world of sports talk radio or TV. She's simply known as the Queen, Miss Tree Dolan. Welcome back to the show.
Hi, Jonathan. Hi, everyone.
How are you?
Doing all right. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, so it's just good to be out here. Good to be back in the mix here. I'm gonna take a quick little break, guys. I got a little echo in my ear here, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Got to make a little adjustment on my microphone. We'll be back. Did you know that Allen Vigil Ford in Morrow, Georgia also has Lincoln? Over 35 years of using the Vigil Touch to provide excellent customer service, works hand in hand with the Lincoln Motor Company to provide a luxurious and seamless way to acquire your next luxury vehicle. Lincoln has an array of full-service complimentary owner benefits. These benefits include hospitality partnerships, service pickup and delivery, all which can be accessed through the Lincoln Way app. You can even contact the 24/7 concierge to have someone assist you. Come and see our great inventory of new and pre-owned Lincolns today. Call 678-364-7345 to make an appointment with one of our brand champions or shop 24/7 online at allenvigillincoln.net.
Oh, hi. I guess it's just me. Well, hello, everyone. Oh, okay.
Terry's back. He's back. Praise the Lord. Listen, great stuff going on here. Like I said again, we are trying to do some recording at the same time, and so I got a little activity going on, but that's okay. We're going to carry on and carry on and carry on. Every time we also bring on the Queen, we also bring on the champion. He's not a one, but two-time Super Bowl champion. He is also a member of the Fort Valley State Sports Hall of Fame. Number 38, all-around good guy, Tyrone Poole is back in the building. What's going on, sir?
Hello, everybody. How you doing? How you doing, Tree? How you doing, Jonathan? Hello, everybody watching and listening. Hope everybody's well.
Hey,
Yeah, man, everybody is
Tyrone.
doing well, sir. Hopefully you had a nice weekend as well.
All is well. Can't complain.
Praise the Lord. All right, let's get to it, guys. We're going to talk a little basketball before we get into some of the hot button issues. Matter of fact, let's go over a little bit. What we're going to talk about tonight. We're talking about the Hawks. They're kind of they got us all excited there for a while, but 1-5, lost 2. Want to see what they can do to kind of get themselves together to maybe be in the top 5. Uh, I always wanted to say this was a segment with the Bob. Black men on blast, because we got a lot of activity here. Ed Reed, a huge rant with Bethune-Cookman. I'm going to ask you guys what you think, right or wrong on that. Shannon Sharpe almost had a fight on the court of an NBA basketball game. Should he have been suspended, fined, or both? And in the UFC, Dana White, the guy who runs the UFC, was in a video slapping his wife. What should be done about him? So we'll talk about all those things. But first, we'll talk about the Atlanta Hawks. Tyrone, I thought about you when I was thinking about the Hawks record. They said over the last 10 games, 7-3. And that's one of the things that you say as a good barometer of what's kind of going on. Have you had a chance to check out the Hawks? And do you think that they can hold on to how they've been playing lately, winning 5 straight, but unfortunately losing the last 2 games?
Again, I know we got to cover something, but at the end of the day, the season is still, still got more games to play. And they still sitting in a position where they have an opportunity to play in the postseason. But as long as they can continue to develop and work on themselves, that's how you get better. That's how you continue a streak. You continue a streak by not worrying about what the outside people are saying or what they are reporting. And, as long as they can continue to keep their internal stuff internally and just continue to work on themselves and be accountable to each other, they probably won't have the first slot, but they will have an opportunity to be in the playoffs. I think they're too talented not to make the playoffs. The only way they won't make the playoffs in my mind is they just self-destruct.
So you've kept your eye on them. Excuse me, you kept your eye on them a little bit. What do you think about the Hawks this last kind of run here? They got everybody all amped up, 5 straight. They got a couple of games over 500, but then kind of back up here. Do you think the backup is kind of back to basics, or you think they finally kind of getting some chemistry here where you can kind of keep it moving?
I mean, I think they're playing great. You can't win all of your games, especially in the NBA. So the fact that they won 5 and lost 2, I'm not really concerned. They still have been playing great basketball. They're playing team basketball, and they look like they're having fun out there. So I think they're definitely in a good spot, and it's just only up from here.
Yeah, so definitely you're right. God dang. Yeah, you can't win them all. The only thing I was kind of disappointed about was that I really was hoping they would win the Charlotte game. To me, that was kind of like a critical game to kind of keep the momentum going. Could have put them 3 games over 500 and kind of led them into what might be a tough road trip. Figuring if they lost, they would still kind of be over 500. But unfortunately, let one get away. And kind of what we saw earlier in the season, had a 19-point lead midway through the 3rd quarter and kind of let it get away from them. But definitely they are playing much, much better ball now. And I think the biggest key is they're moving the ball and they more pace. I mean, they're just pushing the ball up no matter what, and they're getting the ball around so that everybody's getting a shot. So to me, that's really the key, just better ball distribution.
Yes, they definitely are moving the ball, and that creates a lot of open shots. It creates cuts, and they're also doing a great job of rebounding. And we know that rebounding is a big part of the game because it creates more chances for you to score. You get more possessions when you rebound, so rebounding is key.
Yeah, the other thing, they got your boy back involved again. John Collins is now looking more like the John Collins we saw of old, getting the ball. He's been averaging, I think, right around 17 or 18 points a game in the stretch. So that's another big key, man. He's been fully engaged in the beginning of the game, and he's carried on through. The big guys, they got to eat.
Yes, they do.
So, yeah, so I think the Hawks have a shot. I think they're going to have to, kind of continue to win at home. That's really, really big. If they can get kind of that streak like the way they were last year, kind of winning, 3 out of 4 at home or something like that, or 2 out of 3, I think that's going to make a big difference on how they're going to be able to finish. And I do believe they really need to get in that top 6. I really think they should get in the top 4 or 5, but if they can get in that top 6, that'll put them into advantage. And even if they got some type of play in, they would have some home field advantage as well. So, yeah, Hawks playing much better. And the other thing, too, is Trey is getting crunk on defense. Trey is really playing crunk on defense. He said that DeJounte had been talking to him, and there was a stretch where he had like 8 steals in 3 games. So kudos to Trey on picking up the defensive side of the ball as well. So, yeah, I think that if they can continue to play the way they've been playing, they'll be able to do what they need to do and get to that next spot. All right, guys, we're going to get now into kind of, I guess, our hot button issue, at least one of them. Tyrone sent me a clip. I looked at the conversation with Bethune-Cookman, the interim president. I believe you both have, at least I think you have both seen the rant by Ed Reed. What do you guys think about that? First of all, Tree, have you seen it?
I have not.
You have not seen it. Okay, no worries. All right. Well, basically, he went on a rant talking about the conditions of the facility at Bethune-Cookman, the fact that they had not finalized the contract, the fact they had come in and had to remove garbage. It just, I mean, it was a long rant. Of course, it had a couple of little sprinklings like he was back in the locker room. So it was definitely must-see TV. And, of course, Bethune-Cookman, the interim president, turned around and said, no worries, you won't have to be coming here and that the contract is going to be terminated, which caused another rant by Ed, basically saying, hey, I'm here. The players want me here. The parents want me here. And it marks a small protest on campus by some of the students. So,
oh, wait. So that's what happened? He did a rant, and then Bethune said they don't want him there?
Right. Yep. They said we're not going to terminate the contract. And then he came back out after that with another rant and talked about how the students wanted to come and the parents wanted to come. And then later on, the interim president, which Tyrone was kind enough to send me the clip and the video. I'm going to try to see if I can pull it up here, where Roland Martin asked the president exactly kind of what went on. Of course, the president's version of what went on was a little bit different than what a lot of the alumni have been saying, and even Ed himself. So it's a shame that it had to come out like this. I guess that's my question. When you get into a situation like that, is the rant or that energy really the best way to go about it? Me personally, I think that it could have been handled a little bit differently. Tyrone, I'm going to ask you what your thoughts were about watching it. You're an HBCU grad. You're obviously involved with your alma mater. What do you think about Ed's energy in his comments about the school?
I just put it to you like this. I hear everybody love to give their opinion, hindsight, looking back, okay? But I always try to challenge people like this. Take the principle. Don't look at the experience. Look in your life, okay? Name me one situation probably where you went off. You went off, okay? Now, somebody looking at you would have said, hey, you could have handled it in a better situation, okay? But they didn't understand, you know what, man, I'm trying to make something happen, man. They talked about they going to turn my lights off, man. That's not the time for me to be calm and cool. So, again, that's all I ask people to do, you know, but we so quick. Now, I'm not going to say we, I ain't part of that party, all right? But people, other people, all right? When you're not in that situation, you know, people so quick to throw their judgment, throw their stones, as we would say. But then when you look at your life, you know, if you could be reminded, and let's go down your lifeline and see situations where you got off, you know, you probably could have used better words. So again, you know, Ed's just passionate, man. And like he said, you know, I would just challenge everybody to go look at the interview on Roland Martin, you know, and I think we should all get all of the story before we make our opinions, because we start assuming. And just like the word is spelled, that's what you do. ASS, you and me. So again, Ed is passionate about the situation. And, you know, he's just trying to do what all great people who want to give back and help people. Okay. If you one of them type people that you don't know what it feels like to see a situation and you try to make a change, okay, you're going to get passionate about it. But if you don't get passionate, then that means you didn't care in the first place. All right. So they call it sweat equity. All right. If you're not complaining, then that means you don't have nothing in the game. I've never seen somebody who didn't have money in the stock market get mad when the stock market go down. Why am I getting mad? I ain't got no money in the stock market. But when you got money in the stock market, yeah, you let it go down 1%. You calling somebody. So again, Ed, respect him a lot, man. And you don't become arguably the GOAT at free safety. You got coaches that say, man, they feared you. And this is a guy who knows how to win. And you say you bring this guy in to win. I'm like, the guy's a winner. But you bringing him in to be a puppet? No, man, that's not how he rolled. So again, Bethune-Cookman knew that. Everybody talking about, well, he knew that going into Bethune-Cookman. Well, Bethune-Cookman knew what they were getting to. They knew they were getting a dog. They knew they were getting somebody who wants to win. And you can't bring that type of person into a situation you ain't gonna do nothing about. Come on, man.
Yes, I mean, that's a perspective of it, and certainly that's kind of was my thought, that a lot of guys that, especially guys that played the game and played at that level, if you go into a locker room, that's how guys certainly will be talking to you. I get it. I just felt that maybe he could have dialed it back a little bit. That was my thoughts. I get it. We all get passionate. I mean, if you're asking the question, hey, I've been mad at stuff, extremely irritated at stuff. And I guess maybe because our personalities are different. I mean, the mentality of a safety that went to you and went to NFL, a little bit different than my sensibilities. So I get it.
And is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame because he's one of the best of the best.
Right.
You got to do it, man.
But yeah, I just thought, everybody's got the right to their opinion. And certainly, that I've been on this show on several occasions and talked about my disappointment with the way the administration handles things in HBCUs. We've been back and forth on that a lot. And, certainly my hope is at some point I could help get some money to the schools. Some people told me.
Let me put it another way, okay? Say if you're a coach, Jonathan. Say if you're a coach, all right? And you are used to coaching. Well, you know what? I'm gonna stay with your car sales, okay? You sell cars in Beverly Hills, all right? Now they want you to go sell cars in Compton. You think you're gonna take that same attitude? Oh yes, how? I think you need to buy this car. It's such a great. No, I think you're gonna change. You're gonna change the course. And them kids, man. Anyways, like you say, you need to look at the whole interview. But everybody, like you said, got their opinion, whether it's right or wrong. Everybody got an opinion. That's what they say. So at the end of the day, all I know is if you're gonna reach certain players, you got to come in a certain kind of way. All right, that's how you get their attention. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying he was doing anything bad. But again, this guy, like he said, he grew up. He grew up in an environment like these kids. I'm like, he saw what he said. He saw homeless people, man, hanging out on campus and everything. Come on, man. I'm like, you got to become a wolf, man. If you want to chase away wolf, you got to be a wolf. I ain't never seen a sheep take a bunch of lions and those lions remain lions. No, the lion's gonna be just like the leader. So if you're a sheep and you weak, you can take a bunch of lions and turn them into sheeps. And you can same thing. You can take a lion who can take a bunch of sheeps and turn them sheeps into lions. So again, that's why I say everybody got their own opinion. That's why everybody is who they are. That's why they can't handle certain positions. That's why certain people are CEOs and certain people work for CEOs.
Well, like I said, man, I think it's I think that this is going to go back and forth. I don't know if they're going to hire him back. I don't think so. And yeah, I just think that at the end of the day, that's just my opinion, that it could have been handled a little bit differently. I understand the energy, and certainly I can see there's a lot going wrong with the school. And who knows? Maybe at the end game, this will show enough light on the situation that'll make some changes. Because, like I say again, I've thought to myself, but I've mentioned on several occasions that I think there's been some trickeration involved with the money, and people tell me about how much money the schools need. And I say, man, at the end of the day, if the money goes into a pot that's designed for athletics, you can't take that money and use it for the general fund. I understand that you have stuff that you need, but this money was specifically and only dedicated to the athletic department. Like I've said before, athletics in this day and age we're in, sports marketing generates money. So in that regard, yeah, had there been some Slim Shady stuff going on, no doubt about it. I just feel like I said, me personally, again, because my personality, I would have probably kind of dialed it back a little bit, versus going on a rant. But nevertheless, we'll find out pretty soon whether that was the right way to go or not. All right, speaking of find out whether it's the right way to go, guys, keep it locked right here. We'll be back with more as we talk about all the stuff that's been going on in the weekend. Keep it locked right here for more of the Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you. Be back.
Are you in the market for a new vehicle? Well, check out Allen Vigil Ford Lincoln in Morrow, Georgia. We have one of the largest inventories in our area for both new and pre-owned vehicles, so we're sure to have something for everyone. Family owned and operated since 1982, customer satisfaction is our number one priority. Come see our full lineup of vehicles and find the one that best fits you. Give us a call today, 678-72.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
All right, we're back here with the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, the Minister Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the Queen, Miss Tree Dolman, and right beneath us is the champion, Mr. Tyrone. All right, we have some more energy going on as well. Shannon Sharpe got into a little situation where he had a back and forth with some of the actual players on the Memphis Grizzlies, and then had a little conversation with one of the players' dads talking about Jai Morant and his dad. I think it's Ed Morant. Him and Shannon got into a little bit. What do you think about that situation? Do you think there should have been any type of repercussions for Shannon? Any fines, suspension from the program or from the league as far as him attending the games at that level?
No. The player that should be fined is the one who was on the court.
Okay.
Shannon was a spectator. And he made a comment, which is what spectators do when they go to games, and the player on the court said F you, and he said F you back. So, I mean, fans make comments all the time. He just got upset because Shannon said that he was too small to guard LeBron. And so then he turned to Shannon and told him F you. He said F you back, and that's what started it. So, no, the player who should be fined is the one on the court. Why? You're playing in the game. Play the game.
Tyrone, your thoughts about Shannon? Any problem with what went on? Any repercussions should be happening to him? Yes or no?
Let me get your thoughts, Jonathan. What's your thoughts? You rarely get an opportunity to answer before we do. What are your thoughts? What do you think about it?
I mean, the backstory was Shannon said, hey, man, look, this is how we go back and forth. He mentioned something about from South Carolina, and he had a big hug with Jai's dad later. So it looked like it was all cool. I don't know, man. It's a difficult call because, again, he's not just a typical fan. He is in the media himself. He is a high-profile individual. And, it always gets dicey when you decide to get on the court and get any kind of interaction with anybody. I don't care who's saying what. So should he be fined? No. But again, the same thing. I think he should have maybe used a little bit more discretion as far as getting into it, like that. I mean, because like Tree said, I mean, people call people names all the time. So, I mean,
You can't call anybody a name at first.
Well, it just seemed like it got a little tense out there. And like you say, he's on the court. So I'm thinking to myself, I don't know if fans should be on the court.
I agree, but we all know it's just like what Tyrone was saying earlier. We all have buttons that people can push, and he was just sitting there enjoying the game. Made a comment, which a lot of people make. He's not the only person that thinks he's too small to guard LeBron. I mean, it's not like he says something crazy, and that's what started the whole thing. And yeah, I mean, you can't just talk to anybody any kind of way. I tell people all the time, you need to watch how you talk to people. You go mess with the wrong one, and they realize that they messed with the wrong one. Shannon obviously is not somebody to play with. He was minding his business until he wasn't, because they were, all up in his. And like he said, they didn't want the smoke, or as he said, they didn't want any problems.
Well, yeah, when you do reps with 475 pounds on the bench, I think anybody would kind of have enough sense to leave him alone. Go ahead, Tyrone. You gonna jump in there?
One thing I know that as athletes, and Tree, she's been on that level. People gonna talk about you. They're gonna say this and that, and I think sometimes as like players, when another player says something about you, now again, I'm just comparing the two of you guys, okay, just for the analogy of the story. Now, if I'm playing volleyball, Tree has played volleyball, and Jonathan, you never played volleyball. And if you say something to me, Jonathan, and I'm like, whatever, man, whatever. I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about anyways. But then when Tree says something, they're gonna hit me a little bit hard. They're gonna light my fuse real quick, because it's like, I respect her words more than I respect your words. So that's why I think sometimes you can see the players, regular fans can say stuff, and they, depending on what they say and how often they say it, whatever, then you see a player say something back. But then when you have one of your own peers, another pro athlete, a former pro athlete, you're always a pro athlete, okay? And they say something to you, then that one rubs you a little bit more, like it lights your fuse a little bit quicker. So yes, Shannon is no longer a pro athlete, but people still look at him as a pro athlete, even though he's in the media, So again, it's just that little thing about athletes, man, pro athletes or professional athletes. When one of us say something about the other one, then we really take it personal more than what I think a fan would say. That's just my opinion. I can care less what a fan says. But when one of my peers say something, then again, that's probably I put it back in your arena, Jonathan. Would you get more upset if one of your peers who sell vehicles as well said that, man, you are a sorry salesman, versus somebody who just comes off the street and say, you know what, you're a sorry salesman? I'm like, which one would probably light your fuse the fastest, and you would really you know what, man, look at here, we got to straighten this out. I would think it would be the peer, the one who you work with, because that's the one you respect the most, and you believe that their word is much more deeper and have a deeper feeling. But that's just what I think about it. A lot
Do
of
you think he should be fined?
You know what? Again, I look at the fact that if they're gonna do kind of like what Jonathan said, if it's like a double-edged sword, but I'm like, if you're gonna find him and you consider him which they would consider him a fan now. Shannon is a fan. So if they're gonna find him here, then they should find every fan that does something or says something at a basketball game, come onto a court, or get any type of altercation with a player who is performing their job on their job. So if they're gonna do that, then they should find any and everybody who has any type of verbal or physical altercation with a player performing their job, doing their job. So that's how I would say that. So you can't, you're gonna do it right, do it right.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I think that if you are a fan and you enter the court, I think they can do stuff like revoke your ticket and throw you out of there. I mean, that much I do know. Yeah, you can't, as a fan, especially during the game, you can't be. Yeah, you can cheer and maybe kind of step on the court for a second, but as far as getting into the players, yeah, if you want to exit the premises real quick, yeah, you go ahead and try and do that. Yeah, they'll go ahead and kind of get your out of here. Come with us, young man, young lady. Come, you got to go.
They should have done like LeBron did. LeBron, I saw a video where there was a lady, I guess she was hackling him or whatever, and LeBron brought the referee over. He pointed out, he said, her right there. They said, her? Yep. Said, come on. She put her jacket on, but she out. So if that's the case, hey, point him out. Get him out of here, man. I'm here trying to perform my job. How would you like it if I came down to wherever you work at and, I'm doing things to distract you. Okay, these guys are not just athletes, man. That's their job. Just like people who wake up got to wake up in whatever hours from now and go to work. We as professional athletes, that's our job, man. It's not just a sport. That's our job. That's our livelihood. So everybody should be treated the same when it comes to
Oh, you're
rules.
right, bro. I mean, I've had situations where customers, we just didn't mesh. I'd be like this, hold on a second, ma'am, let me get a manager and let me get another salesperson maybe to better serve you. I'm out of there. Yeah, if somebody starts messing around and they start acting a fool, get too abusive, or they start I'm like, ma'am, sir, the sale don't mean that much to me. Let me go ahead and get you somebody else that can better help you before I say or do something that would get me fired. So yeah, I mean, I don't tell them that, but basically I get some help, bro. You're surely right. You can get some help.
But as an athlete, you also have to learn how to tune out things that are said. So you can't respond to everything that is said. And I do realize, yes, he knew Shannon said it, and that hit him deeper, like Tyrone was saying, because of who said it. But you still have to focus on the game and not focus on the crowd. You have to tune things out when you're playing in a game.
Well, surely right. So hopefully next time Shannon will just muffle and the other guy will muffle. And I said, but I will say again, to his defense, afterward he did kind of have, like a little chop with Josh's dad. And they said it was all cool. It's how we beef a little bit. So hopefully there'll be that and there'll be no problem at all. Speaking of no problem, guys, there's no problem. If you stay right there, don't leave. We'll be back with more of the Real Talk Sports Show in just a moment. Don't go nowhere, please. Thank you.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
Everybody, we're back here with the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm the host, Mr. Jonathan Simmons. Right next to me is the Queen, Ms. Tree Dolman. And right underneath us, holding it up, is the champion, Tyrone Poole. Well, we're going back to a segment that we always like. When we have some folks that partner with us, we like to give them a spotlight so you guys can see and hear more about what they're doing. This young lady we're about to bring on, you see all these advertisements about the strong arm and one call, that's all. But this young lady doesn't need all that because she is one of the best attorneys in the city of Atlanta. Attorney Denise Holmes, sole practitioner here in Atlanta, Georgia, where she has practiced personal injury, family law, and employment discrimination law since 1999. She earned her bachelor's from Temple University and her JD from Atlanta Law School in Atlanta, Georgia. And she is a member of a host of top professional organizations like the State Bar of Georgia, Atlanta Bar Association, the DeKalb County Bar Association, the Georgia Association of Black Women Attorneys, and I can go on and on and on. She also is a philanthropist who gives a lot of her time and her money to various causes around Atlanta, including the United Negro College Fund and the Trumpet Awards and the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. She's also a good friend of mine. The lovely attorney, Ms. Denise Holmes, welcome to the Real Talk Sports Show. We see you. Can you hear us? Your mic might be on mute. Try to hit your mic again. All right. And there we go. Well, hopefully we'll bring Denise back. Yeah, she does a lot here in the city of Atlanta. Like I mentioned, she has been a supporter of the UNCF. She always buys a table at the Mayor's Mass Ball, which I'm sure you can imagine is a nice little hefty fee. She also has supported Trumpet Awards, the Georgia Entertainment Gala, and she was actually one of the inaugural sponsors at the Steeple Awards, which they give to many churches and gospel organizations here in the Metro Atlanta. So hopefully she'll be able to pop back on. If not, we'll get her back on the show next week so she can tell us about some of the stuff she's doing. Also give us some legal tips, because as you guys know, if you don't know the law, you can get jacked up along the way. So hopefully, again, Denise will be able to join us. If not today, maybe next week she can come back on and talk to us about what she has going on in not only law, but in her philanthropy as well. All right, one last thing. Speaking of guys kind of behaving questionably here, Dana White, the big head of UFC, has a video of his wife. I think it was exchanging slaps, but basically got him slapping his wife. So far, no penalties for him. Again, we asked the same question. Do you think there should be any type of penalty or any type of suspension for him, since he clearly was shown on camera slapping his wife and slapping her pretty good too?
Yes, that is unacceptable.
Tyrone, I see you got a straight face, brother.
Nah, I'm just listening, man. First and foremost, I say this: I don't care if it's the woman. A woman should not hit a man, and a man should not hit a woman. I just leave it at that.
I agree.
So my thing is, they both should be fine. That's my answer. They both should be fine. All right. She
I
shouldn't.
think they'll be fine.
Whatever it is, both of them should get the same penalty. All right, because you should keep your hands to yourself. And I'm like, when they, anyways, yeah, I just leave it with that right there. But both of them were wrong. She shouldn't have put her hands on him, and he shouldn't put his hands on her.
You brought up something there.
But I will say they can't both receive the same penalty because she doesn't own the company. He does.
That don't matter. Hey, adultery and stealing cookies is still stealing.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to put it, Tyrone. Using adultery and stealing cookies. That's an
I was
interesting
just saying, making a big difference. I don't have this. They got that. No, that's what's wrong with society now. They go after the big season. Let's go after the one who got it, but the one who's down here, those are the ones that get away with murder, so to speak. All right, because they all trying to put the crosshairs at the top. That's why I'm like, if you treat it one way for anybody and everybody, you'll clean up a whole lot of mess. But we live in a world where, and that's nothing but against what Tree was saying. She just made me think of that, because I'm like, somebody will probably see that video and they'll say, oh, it's okay for me to go ahead and hit somebody who got more than me, who whatever than me, because they're gonna look at that person before they look at me. And they'll be the ones who really be taking advantage of the situations. Because the ones, I think some of the guys, majority of the people on top, they like, man, look at here. Like we were talking about Shannon, how we talking about Ed Reed. You got a bigger platform. So they probably gonna walk a little bit softer versus somebody who basically, they like, I ain't got nothing to lose. Shoot, what they gonna do? I ain't got nothing. What they gonna take?
Well, I tell you, at some point they're gonna have to get a handle on this, because this is the second. I'm sure it's more than that, but this is the second individual that's kind of high profile. We had a situation where it was a back and forth. And again, I'm not, me being an old school guy, I'm not advocating no guy putting his hands on a woman, but this is becoming a little bit of a problem here. A guy that plays right here for the Braves, Marcelo Zuna. I mean, this is a guy that basically got suspended, but it was on record that one time his wife had to get arrested, and his wife has got a reputation for being a little nasty and a brawler herself. So again, I'm not advocating anybody, hey guys, please don't, because next thing is when the preacher said, if my wife took a swing at me, I can hit her. I'm not telling you that. Okay. But what I'm saying is that at some point they're gonna have to find some way to kind of balance this out. I mean, you can't have a guy, especially if the wife instigated it. Because sometimes that happens. I mean, wife take a swing, she hits you, you trying to get out of this, she throws something, hits you again. I mean, you guys were talking earlier about buttons being pushed. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know what happened in this fight between this guy and his wife, but I mean, if you try to get out the door and all of a sudden something kind of hits you in the back of the neck, I mean, that might have been your last.
You can get out the door, so I don't want to hear that. If you're trying to get out the door and somebody throws something at you, the best and smart thing to do is to still leave out the door. It's not to get hit in the back with something and then turn around and react. So unacceptable. No, not an excuse.
Well, like I said, speaking of a guy who has a daughter, I'm not trying to see any guy put his hands on a woman, but I do tell her the same thing. Hey, don't put your hands on anybody yourself. Because my daughter, big girl too. She's like, well, I can put her weight out there, but she's a big girl. So I tell her, hey, you be careful as well. Don't.
And I'm not condoning any woman putting their hands on any man. Just how men get abused and women get abused, men get abused too by women. And it's unacceptable. It is not okay. It does happen. But again, men are stronger than women. Men can really hurt women. And men, a lot of times, just have to leave before it even gets to that point. You have to walk away. And so should the woman. It is not okay for anybody to put their hands on anyone. A woman is not okay to put her hands on any man, and a man is not okay to put his hand on any woman or any other man. We all need to keep our hands to ourselves.
What was that golfer where his wife, PGA golfer, where his wife really just lit into him, man? And
you talking about the incident after? Hey, don't call his number anymore. And Tiger drove off, and she hit the golf clubs, and yeah, that was kind of a bad situation for Tiger. But I mean, let me do this. Let's go to a legal expert. Let's see if we can get her back online here. Attorney Denise Holmes, I think she's back in the building. Denise, you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, praise the Lord. We got
I'm back. I'm in. Yay.
We got you. Amen. Well, look, again, it's a pleasure to have you. It's been a long time. You actually were in the studio with us. I want to say probably, way before the pandemic, maybe 2016 or 17. You actually came down to the studios of WIGO, so it's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you. It's good to be back. Even though it's the new technology with Zoom, I'd rather see people in person, but Zoom will work.
Well, we have some things coming up as we get towards the spring. We're going to look to see if we can get back out and start doing some live remote broadcasts. Hopefully everything will kind of stay down with the COVID. So stay tuned, and we'll be more than happy to kind of bring you out and get in the element with the real people. All right. I don't know if you heard a little bit of that conversation talking about, basically domestic violence. Have you had those types of cases dealing with family law where, it's kind of not sure who was the instigator, what happened? And if so, kind of what was your sensibility about, helping whichever party you helped?
Yeah. Well, generally with family law, you're either going to get the husband or the wife that's going to come in as the client. And normally by the time they come in, I mean, the domestic violence has already occurred. The front line people that deal with domestic violence are the police officers. When they first come out on the scene, those are the ones that have to determine who will they believe. And then they look at things like to see if there's any visible bruises. They try to get both sides of the story. But I really feel for the officers because a lot of times they're thrown in. They don't know who's telling the truth. And that's why sometimes, the domestic violence can really lead to loss of life because someone wasn't removed from the home or incarcerated long enough. So by the time they get to the attorney, I mean, you're just dealing with the one.
Now,
it's the police that have to deal with them that one-on-one. And we really need to, I think, have people trained specifically for domestic abuse because the police, I don't think, they're used to dealing with criminals. When you have things of the heart and personal matters, you may need more of a counselor type person to be on the scene. Or they just need additional training in those areas. I'm not saying that they're doing a bad job, but it's a lot going on. It's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's no respect of person. It happens in wealthy homes, happens in poor homes, middle class families. Domestic situations are they're always difficult. Do you guys have any questions or comments for Denise while we have her join us for a few minutes?
I guess the bar. What is the bar, and how many times did you have to take the bar? Did you hit a home run the first time?
Oh, that's a good question. No one has asked me that in years. I'll be in practice 24 years this upcoming May. And no, I did not pass it the first time. I think the first time I missed it by 3 points. But they said the third time is the charm. So I found out with the bar and what I'm able to do now when I meet students that are preparing for the bar is very, very challenging. You have to give those types of exams. Even folks going to medical school, folks preparing for licensing, even like for physical therapists and things like that. Those tests are very structured. You have to give those tests the respect that they deserve. And until I came to grips with that, and studied for a whole good year and sacrificed my time and just focused on that bar and practice makes perfect, that's when I was able to achieve my goal and pass very successfully. And I've been in practice ever since. That was in 1999.
Wow. Are there like people like athletes, right? You can go get with this trainer and say if you're a college athlete and you're getting ready to go to the combines or you prepare for your individual pro day, you can go and get with this trainer that can teach you how to run fast or try to get you stronger. When you say you spend a whole year, or people would just have to spend a whole year dedicating themselves to passing the bar, are there like people who specifically say, you know what, I'm a master at the bar and take my course and I can help you pass it? Is that such a thing like that out there?
Yes, there is a course. I mean, just like when you prepare to take the SATs and the LSATs and those types of things, those courses are there. But to really reinforce, what I found is just like what athletes do, you have drills. Practice makes perfect. And what I did when I was successful with passing was that I started my day and I would sit and test and do the exam questions under time conditions, just like as I was taking the exam. Then I would break for lunch, come back and do it again, and do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And to sometimes you can't do it enough. So then by the time I set for the bar that third time, I had the confidence that I needed and I was successful. Prior to that, I think we were trying to cram in, it's 3 years worth of work. We're trying to go through, it's 1,500 questions or so. We're trying to go through that stuff in a month or two. Now, everybody's different. Some folks have that photographic memory. I didn't. So I had to learn. And just like athletes, you have to practice, 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 practice. And practice, you can then achieve your goals. You can run faster. You can, obtain a higher score just by practicing more and more and more. But I have been able to help people once I got, I figured out the formula. I've been able to talk to people. I have some friends that have, were trying to get through the bar, and I'm like, this is what you do. And then once they, I was able to help them, they were able to pass. They're like, Denise, you're right. So some things come easier to some people, but I've had some friends too who passed the first time and then went out and messed up their careers. And they're no longer passing or disbarred. So I think everybody has to go through something in life, just like athletes, to mature, to get better, to get more focused, and to develop better habits. I think by the time I sacrificed and went through everything that I went through to pass that bar, I said, I'm going to work very hard and I'm going to do everything I can to hold on to it.
What's your favorite thing about practicing law?
The people. I am a people person, but it is all about people. This is a people business. So if you don't like folks and dealing with them and their problems, this is not the occupation. Wow. But it's all about people. I put myself in their shoes and I get to counsel them. And it's just all about people and relationships. That's how I've been able to build my practice over the last 24 years. I'm not on TV. I do personal injury primarily now. I'll be retiring probably in another 10 years or so. But a lot of people are on TV and this and that. I just say, if you do a good job, you don't have to advertise anything. It's the people that you help or that are going to advertise for you. My phone rings every day, and it's generally from someone that I have helped in the past who has referred a friend, a family member, coworker, church member. That's how I get my clients. But it's the reputation that you establish that will speak for itself.
Can I ask one more question, Jonathan? We got time for one more?
Go ahead, sir.
All right. This, again, just mentioning like comparing athletes and you go from one team to another team. This team, they play this particular style and this particular identity. Then you go to another team in another state and they have a totally different identity. So my question is, what if you pass the bar in one state, does it make it easier to pass the bar in the next state, or what's the difference between bars from state to state?
That's a good question. Now, the structure of the exam is generally the same. The exam is 2 days, one part multiple choice questions one day and the next day essays. But every state has its own unique laws. So say, for instance, if I wanted to go and practice in Florida, I would have to take that exam, the Florida Bar Examination, which has their own little rules on, you know, the criminal statute, property. It's just a whole different set of rules, but a lot of things are similar. But yeah, you can't just, cross one over into the other. Just like those different teams have those different styles, the different coach, the different personalities. Those bar exams for each state are unique. And yes, you do have to, unless in some states, if you've been practicing and you've been in good standing, they have it where you don't have to take both parts of the exam. You can just maybe take the written part. Some states, if you've been practicing or whatever, I think the District of Columbia, you can grandfather in after 10 years, stuff like that. But for the most part, if I want to go down to Florida or go over to LA, I have to sit for that exam again.
Wow. It's like a lot of work. So speaking of that, what kind of got you started to saying, hey, I want to be a lawyer?
That's a good question. When I first came here to Atlanta, I came here to study fashion. And I said that in your life, your destiny and your path, it will come to you. You will be in place where God wants you to be, where he will order your steps. I came here to study fashion. I'm still amazed myself at how I got from fashion to law. I had people around me that were in school and they were talking about they wanted to be attorneys. Some of my very closest friends, the guy that I dated, that's all he ever wanted to do was be an attorney. And to this day, I still couldn't figure out how I ended up being the attorney. But that little voice inside of you will begin to speak to you and it will guide you into your destiny. When I majored in undergrad, I have a bachelor's of science degree in a major with human resources and a minor in management. I was recruited by a major insurance company out of college. I had a job when I graduated. I went to Temple University. Back then, the companies would come on campus and we had Minority Career Day, specifically looking for minorities. Back then, they had a quota system. I fit that quota. I was female and Black. And I was recruited by Aetna Insurance Company to become a claims adjuster. And from the claims adjusting, I learned all about personal injury. They trained me. I worked in the insurance industry, and then they had a tuition reimbursement program. And I was going to take courses for designation in insurance, but I said, I'm dealing with these attorneys all the time. I see all the money that they're getting. I'm on the other side of this. I know the cases better than them. And then it clicked, go to law school. So I was working for Cigna Insurance Company at the time, and I worked full-time days, salaried, 50, 60 hours a week, and I went to law school at night all year round for 3 years. I came out debt-free. God is good. And then I got through that bar exam and then opened up my own practice, and I haven't looked back since.
Wow.
Is it tough dating a lawyer?
That's a good question, Jonathan. You may want to tell him. I just, all I can do is laugh sometimes because I work very, very hard. And not that I'm waving my flag or anything, but God has been very, very good. So, when you got the girl and she's got the house with the pool and the Bentley and all of that, they either going to be scared and run from you, or they may want you to be the sugar mama. So it's been interesting. I got a dog. Life in the ATL.
Well, I'm gonna leave it right there.
Okay.
We're gonna leave that right there. Well, listen, you talked about before about as we wrap up about how you have a heart for people. Is that really what also keeps you involved in philanthropy? Because you are really like a massive giver.
Yes, it does. I guess God has placed on me. I had that little hiatus between passing the bar and starting my own practice. And during that time, I had studied man's law, but then God said, study my law. So I got very involved with church. I went through that whole, I was a member at World Changes. I was over there at World Changes with Creflo. I helped build the dome. I was there 12 years, and I got involved with the prison ministry. And on Saturdays, I used to go to, they had Fulton County Juvenile Court downtown. And I used to go downtown as part of the prison ministry to counsel, encourage, hold their hands. Our children, these are our children. At their ages, 12 and 13, they're incarcerated. At their age, I was home playing with Barbies and in the Girl Scouts. And so I did that religiously for about 4 years, because that was the serving. That's what God had me doing. That was the service. And then God spoke to me and said, now that I have you in this position of law, you have your practice and you have talents and treasures and time, I want you to do preventative things with the young people. So the organizations that I'm involved with and putting my time, talent, and treasures into are those that are helping our young African-American youth. It takes a village. Even if I can't be right there to hold them or touch their hands, I know that the proceeds of what I'm giving is going to help to try to change their lives. Each organization that I'm involved in has something to do with the children. Hank Stewart has his organization. I don't know if you're familiar with him. You are familiar with Hank and what he does every year, but he helps the kids find jobs and everything. Commissioner Bruce Holmes over in Henry County. That program, we provide money for sports. We take them on trips. Of course, the Mayor's Mass Ball raises money for the United Negro College Fund. We're helping the kids at the HBCUs with scholarships. The other program that I'm involved in too, Nasoro, they just had their big ball last Saturday night. They raised over $1 million. That organization is for, we give money to kids who have been through the foster system. They've aged out. They've never had families and they want to go to college. We provide scholarships. I could probably go on, but that's where my heart is. And then when you meet these kids and you hear the testimonies and how it's changed their lives, I just can't go backwards. If I can do it, if I can help, it takes that village. And these are our children. So they said, many are called, but few are chosen. And I've decided to be a chosen one and step up.
Well, I appreciate all the stuff that you've done. Matter of fact, we met, I think, at the Trumpet Awards originally. So it's always good stuff. That's why I like to try to bring people on that are not only doing stuff in the business community, but also doing stuff as well as philanthropy as well. Okay, speaking of that, how can people find out more about you, website, or even social media where they can keep up with you and all the great things you're doing?
Great. That's my website up on the screen. Just type in attorneydeniseholmes.com. And I will pop right up in your phone.
Well, there you go. Listen, we appreciate you, and we appreciate you being now a partner with the Real Talk Sports Show and trying to keep the good news of sports out in the atmosphere. We appreciate you, and we look forward to having you back on the show real soon.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Good night.
Good night.
All right. The lovely Mr. Denise Holmes joining us here. We're going to take a little break, and then we're going to talk some football. But you guys, if you want to do that, you're going to have to keep it locked right here. The Real Talk Sports Show. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. Thank you.
The day has arrived. It's time to let more people know about your business. You have the right marketing plan and the messaging in place. But do you have the right messenger? Good advertising and promotions need a professional sound so the message can be clearly understood. Don't leave your brand image to chance. Let our team of voiceover experts at CME lend you a hand. Give us a call at 678-304-8121 to find out how we can partner with you to give your business its voice.
This is OJ Howard with Real Talk Sports.
What's up, guys? This is Tim Tebow. You're listening to Real Talk Sports.
This is Charles Woodson. Let me grab the mic. You ready? This is Charles Woodson with Real Talk Sports. Hey, it's your boy JB Smooth with Real Talk Sports.
final segment, talking a little football. And then there were 4. We're down to the final 4 now here as the AFC and NFC contestants are all chosen. So first, before we talk about the individual games, who do you think is the best team still in the hunt right now? Who you guys think the best team? Is it Philadelphia, the 49ers, Kansas City, or the Cincinnati Bengals led by Joe Burrows? I'll ask you first, Tree. Who do you think? Who's the best of the 4?
So I go back and forth. I will have to say Philadelphia is definitely in that conversation now that I know that Jalen is not hurt. I really didn't think he would be as healthy as he is, and the fact that he is, you definitely can't count them out. And then I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, who I would like to say, but then I know that their quarterback is injured, and I know that he's still going to play on it, but he definitely will not be even close to 100% on that ankle. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers with their defense, but the rookie quarterback, well, not the quarterback scares me. Yes, he's doing a great job. So looking at all these things, and the Bengals are good, right? But I don't think that they would be my number 1. So I guess I'm going to have to say that the number 1 right now would be Philadelphia Eagles.
All right. Eagles, number 1, chosen by the Queen. Tyrone Poole, who do you think's the best team still left in the tournament, sir?
I gave you guys my prediction when we first started the playoffs, and I said the 49ers were going to win it. So I still stick with the 49ers. Brock Purdy, I think he's kind of like Nick Foles. There's not enough film out there on him to understand what the 49ers are trying to do with him. So really that plays as an advantage to the 49ers on their side, because there's not enough film to see Brock Purdy in every situation. Now get that thing a whole year and let these defensive coordinators break it down and see what they're really trying to do with him. Then next year may be a challenge, but I think actually he can play like Superman all the way to the end of the Super Bowl, because they are trying to figure out who he is. And there's something else I know too. Once you get into the Super Bowl, you're not trying to reinvent the wheel. You're going back studying, trying to clean up your best plays, and you come to the game with your best plays. So if Brock can get through this Eagles game, which I think he will, I just think the 49ers, they just got, Kyle Shanahan got too much of a playground on offense, man. And I think he can come up with something. Plus, I always look at the fact that he got his dad too, Mike Shanahan. So I got to believe they sitting at the table, and talking about things. And, so Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts, hey, man, good job. But I think 49ers going to go up there and continue to win. And I think Brock Purdy going to be the Cinderella story in the sense of where he started, when he started, and then playing into the playoffs. And on the AFC side, I'm like, I started out with Kansas City. I said Kansas City. But, when I look at the Bengals, man, I'm like, that attitude that Joe Burrow has, man, I'm like, even if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, I think people are going to start putting him above Mahomes. I'm like, or if they don't, he's going to be pretty much doggone close. I'm like, this guy took his team to the Super Bowl twice, okay? And they probably could have had an opportunity to win it last year. So, again, I like his attitude, man, and that's why I think with Ritter, I think they give Ritter the same opportunity here in Atlanta. Let him develop that same attitude, man. I don't see Burrow that big. I look at him, of course, TV's supposed to make him look bigger. But the one thing that he has, and I think they showed it in pregame, I'm like, it's snowing. I don't know if you guys saw that little,
no look pass.
Yeah, no, he threw it. Yeah, no, he just threw it.
No look, baby. Mm-hmm.
That's confidence, man. That's confidence. That's like what Deion say. Deion said, when you smell, he said, I don't even wear cologne. He said, that's what you smell. You smell confidence. So right now, Joe Burrow, that's what you smell, man, confidence in Joe Burrow. But I got to go with my 49ers, man.
Well, okay, so that's a different question. I was answering who is the best team right now. I wasn't answering who I thought would win. To me, those are two different questions. The best team doesn't always win. It depends on how you come out and play. I'm definitely not picking the Philadelphia Eagles to win. I'm picking San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs. Those are the two teams that I think will be advancing to the Super Bowl. I just wanted to clarify that because I was answering a different question.
And I say this too. I think the NFL really, if you want to look at the numbers from a television standpoint, it's all about the money. Show me the money. I think the NFL will win on the financial side if the 49ers went to the Super Bowl versus the Eagles. Because you got, if the 49ers go, it doesn't matter who goes from the AFC, you got storylines. If the Bengals go, then they're gonna go back to the '89 Super Bowl. They're gonna start digging up all kinds of old athletes gonna show up. Or they go all the way back to '81. Or if the Chiefs make it, the Chiefs and the 49ers, then that's a rematch. Now you're out there playing the James Brown song. Payback, got to get back. You need some get back. So the Eagles, they don't have no history with neither one of those teams. But of course, you want the best team to go. But we know that the NFL is all about that money, man. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be some type of
trickeration.
Yeah, exactly. But I just think if the 49ers go, and I do think they will go, I just think they're the better team in the NFC. I think they're going to give the Super Bowl a better storyline, and they'll be able to sell the Super Bowl even bigger versus if the Eagles went.
Well, there's no question. Up until the Mahomes injury, I thought Kansas City was that they were those dudes. But with him on a high ankle sprain, again, I have not played not 1 second. You guys will both have to tell me, but it's wow. Always comes to that.
Oh, sorry.
Gone. Anyway, you guys both know about a high ankle sprain. They said that's like a wicked thing to try to play on as far as pain, as far as you being able to move. Is that the case? I mean, even if they doctor him up with some stuff, Tyrone, he's not going to be able to really. What do you think? 60%, 70%? What you thinking? Or adrenaline just overrides that?
I saw a guy who basically had an injury, maybe a couple of weeks or a week and a half before the Super Bowl. He actually got out there and played, ran like nothing was wrong with him. And Terrell Owens played in the Super Bowl. So
that's right. Against you guys, right? Yep.
That I don't think it's going to be a factor. I think right now they got him doing all kinds of treatment. They got all kinds of equipment now, man. They got the cryotherapy. They got hyperbaric chamber. So I do believe if you put the body in the right environment, man, it'll heal overnight like that, or at least get you to the point.
And that electric film.
Yeah, exactly. They got all kinds of stuff. So I don't think that's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I think they're going to wrap his ankle up really well. I know it'll still be swollen, I'm pretty sure. I had an ankle the size of a grapefruit, but I still went out there and played volleyball on it, and they just did the regular tape plus some extra stuff and put that over it, and I was able to play. I think he'll be fine as well.
I'll tell you guys something. It was now this, I don't know. I never did it, but I heard guys say that it works. Like for swelling and tree just made me think about it. They would take it's called horse whatever, and you rub it on whatever area that's like swollen. Then you wrap it up like in a bag, you just encase that injury. When you put this, it's called horse something. I have to look it up, but man, they say some athletes swear by that stuff, man, and it stinks.
Really?
I know they say it stinks, but it takes this overnight. They say your ankle goes, if it's whatever the swelling is overnight, it has taken the swelling out of your joints. So I don't know.
That's crazy.
What is it called?
I don't know if that's that deer spray that your boy used a couple Super Bowls ago. That's that deer spray. That's what
it's called. Deer is called deer something, deer antler or something.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yes, sir.
That's it right there. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Ray Lewis used it because they thought Ray was going to play. If you remember that last Super Bowl, they thought for sure he was not going to play. And he said he put that deer stuff on and he got out there. And Peyton Manning a couple of years before, same thing. He doctored up some stuff. And so I don't know what's in that deer meat or deer antler, whatever they put on you, man. But evidently It works, no
I was
doubt. So I guess they're gonna hit up. They're gonna hit my boy Mahomes up with that. And listen, at the end of the day, everybody wants to see that guy back out there. He is must see TV, electrifying player, and he's got just a ridiculous chemistry with Kelsey at the tight end, the quarterback position. I mean, to me, I think to some degree maybe surpassing what Tom Brady had with Gronk, and that's a big statement. But they're getting close to that right now.
And let me say this too. I know we're going to continue to move on, but I think also Cincinnati, they're coming in with confidence, man. They played these guys last year and beat them. Just like I said when they played Buffalo last week, I said they're going to go into that game with confidence. They go into that game like, man, we would have beat you guys last time we played. So it's just something about when you had that confidence, man. You had that confidence. And again, I just keep bringing it back home to Atlanta. Ritter. The Falcons just need to get that dude, let him play like he plays in Cincinnati with that confidence, man. And I think they got their franchise quarterback. All right? That's what I think.
That's what I've been saying. I mean, I just like the way the guy showed up in the big games. And the biggest thing I like about him is that even those big games, when he was in a lot of pressure from Alabama, a lot of pressure from Georgia, he never turned the ball over. And to me, that is huge when you can do that. All right, well, you're talking about, excuse me, prop man, where's my water? Here we go. Prop man to the rescue. Segues nicely into our final segment. Who do you guys think is going to be the next GOAT of these, excuse me, young quarterbacks? You think it's going to be Mahomes? You think it's going to be Burrows? You think it's going to be Allen? Who do you think is going to be the next guy that's going to kind of take on the mantle of everybody saying the GOAT?
The next GOAT.
Yeah, the quarterback.
I would say Mahomes.
Okay.
I think that he has a long way to go. So when you say the next, I just want to clarify that. He definitely has a long way to go. But I think that he's definitely on the right path to becoming the GOAT if he can continue to get better and continue to win championships and just make these amazing throws that he does. I can definitely see him on that level.
Tyrone, who do you think out of those guys? Mahomes, Allen, or you think it's going to be Joe Cool? Or do you have a wild card, someone else you think might surpass them all?
My question is, what's the definition of GOAT? It's almost like trying to say who's the best between Michael Jordan and LeBron. It depends on what you're talking about. If you're talking about the more like the guy who could do the most, play the most positions on the court, then LeBron is the GOAT. But if you talk about somebody who basically, you know what, this is the guy that I want. It's 5 minutes left in the game, whatever. We down by such and such point. This is the guy gonna touch the ball every time. Then it's Michael. So when you say the GOAT, what are you actually talking about? Because there's some quarterbacks that are better. If you consider Tom the GOAT, nothing against Tom, and I'm pretty sure Tom will say this too. But I think Dan Marino may be the GOAT in throwing the football. Now, I'm not going to excuse leave Warren Moon out either. I think Warren Moon is the GOAT when it comes to throwing the ball. I'm like, that joker, but he dropped that ball in there like a dime. I'm like, now, so what we talking about winning championships? I'm like, what
I would say, yeah, let's put it that way. The guy, and again, I understand that winning championship is a team issue because Dan Marino, people talk about the fact that if they ever had put a running game around him and had, the killer bees, which was a great defense, not gotten old as he was coming in, he might have won some titles. But let's look at from a guy you think, like you said, like a Michael Jordan guy, you say, you know what? I need that 2-minute drive to win the game. Which guy do you think may be that next guy?
Ooh, what my guy Burrow did, man. I'm going with Burrow. I'm going with Joe Burrow. Man. The dude, I'm like, when you can throw the ball in pregame and do a silhouette, just a turnaround like that. That's just like Michael Jordan shooting a free throw with his eyes closed, man. That's confidence. Give me that dude right there. Nothing against Patrick, but man, you know what? Joe Burrow, man. I'm like, they love Joe Burrow right about now. Everybody, Joe Burrow this, and if he win the Super Bowl, oh my goodness, man. Joe Burrow he'll probably be to run for president.
He's gonna have a printing machine downstairs, sir. Yeah, he's gonna be printing the money. I mean, I had a chance to interact with Joe when he was here, when he won, I think it was College Player of the Year or Offensive Player of the Year. And even then, as a collegian, the guy, everything you see right now, it was the same thing then. I mean, he got up to the podium. First of all, the way the guy came decked out. You know, LSU, obviously, their colors are purple and gold. Joe came out with an off-white suit, had a purple and gold tie, and then had purple and gold shoes. I said, Joe, who dressed you? Your mom? He said, nah, man. I said to put it together. And and then he showed me, hey, let me show you the shoes. Because he was back behind the podium. He came out and showed the shoes to everybody. Yeah, it's just like he is a cool customer. However, I think if both guys stay healthy, I'm going to lean towards Patrick Mahomes only because the things that he does with the football are just insane. So I'm going to lean towards Mahomes by a whisper over Joe Cool as being the next guy that would be stepping up to the plate as being the so-called GOAT. So that's my guy, Mr. Mahomes. I think he's going to be that dude. So I think you guys both told me who you're picking to go to the Super Bowl. I think, Tree, you said, who do you like again to go?
San Francisco 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs.
And Tyron, I already know you want the 49ers. You think it's going to be the Chiefs, or you think Joe Cool's going to beat Byron since Mahomes? I mean, granted, I know he can play, but he's not going to be 100%.
I initially started out with the Chiefs going. Definitely the 49ers. Like I said, once they made that trade for McCaffrey, I was like, you know what? It's on. It's on from there. It's just a matter of time when they start gelling. But I'm going to have to switch up in the AFC and go with the Bengals. I think it's going to be – I just think, Joe Mixon, you got Jamar Chase, that boy there, man, he's you talking about a GOAT. I'm like, right now, is amongst the young wide receivers right now, he's playing on a confident level. And he and Joe Burrow are beginning to get that, that just me and you, that like Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, the first play when the Bengals had the ball. First person he threw the ball to was Jamar Chase. Let's get him in the game. Let's get him going early. Let's like they said in Washington. What was that? Let's crank up that diesel. They had John Riggins.
Crank up that diesel. That diesel. Yep, yeah, John Riggins. Yes, sir.
Get him going early, man. And I just think Cincinnati offensively, man, they got three basically talented receivers, man. So you got to double Chase. You can't leave him over there by himself, man. And then Joe Mixon, he's good enough to run the ball. I think Cincinnati defense is good enough to stop the Chiefs. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I do believe that. But I think the Bengals got enough. If they do get on top, that they can truly run that ball and try to run that time out the clock, mix it up. I don't know if the Chiefs can kind of quite do that, man. I don't know if their running game is, as good as the Bengals. So 49ers and the Bengals. It's going to be a repeat of what people wanted last year. You remember last year, they were just hoping that the 49ers won so they can get that Bengals. There's a lot of Bengals fans who wanted their get back. They wanted their get back against the 49ers. And now, the 49ers lost to the Rams. But if they get back in there, the 49ers and the Bengals, I'm telling you, NFL going to have fun with it, man. The fans, 89 Super Bowl, 81 Super Bowl. Shoot, they may bring, what his name? Ken Anderson.
Ken Anderson, yep.
Ken Anderson. They may resurrect him, man, and bring him out on the field.
Now, I'm going to ask a question. I don't know, but I can't remember. Did he actually finally get elected to the Hall of Fame, Ken Anderson, or is he still on the ballot?
Man, it's a lot of Bengals, man. Even the guy, was it Riley, the defensive back? I don't think.
Yeah, Ken Riley, number 13. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm like, wow, that dude, he got a lot of interceptions. But I just think I don't know. I don't think Ken has gotten in yet.
Not yet.
Ickey Woods will probably get in before some of them guys will, just because of the day.
Do the shuffle, Ickey Woods. But I'll tell you about Ken Anderson really quickly. This is going way back. This was 40 years ago. But that guy was the really preeminent, quote-unquote, West Coast passer. That guy was the most accurate passers of the ball in NFL history. I mean, that guy he had the uncanny ability to not only dink and dunk you, but put the ball just right where it needed to go. Yeah, outstanding quarterback. One of the best I've seen. I mean, it's incredible.
Do you think that's why he's not in? Because of that system, that West Coast system? They would say it's dink and dunk. Really, it's an extension of pass in that West Coast offense. It's an extension of the run. And really, the quarterback is not really even throwing the ball like a quarterback should. Do you think they're holding that against him from not putting him in?
I think some of it, man, you know how this works, Tyrone. It's the era you play in. And see, the problem is he had the misfortune to be playing the same era as Joe Montana. So, they went head to head. A phenomenal game. Had it not been really at that time, had it not been a San Francisco defense, Cincinnati could have won that game. But as you know, they made that phenomenal goal line stand, and then Cincinnati could never really punch the ball in for a touchdown. They had to keep kicking field goals. So really, it was the San Francisco defense that was the key. I mean, Joe Montana had a good game, but it was their D that did it. Yeah, if he had won that, I'm sure he would have been in it already. Because his numbers, like you said, if you look at his passing percentage, this is before really the West Coast was big. This guy, I think one year he had like 69 or 70% back in the 80s. Yeah, Ken was a bad boy. Yeah, most very, very underrated. Yeah, so for me, it's a tough call because, the Bengals have a couple of guys in their offensive line that are kind of banged up. Mahomes is banged up for Kansas City. I think it's going to be a shootout. Kansas City did show last week they could run the ball a little bit, of course, against Jacksonville. But they did have, Isaiah Pacheco ran for almost 100 yards last week. So, I don't know, man. God, dog, this is, man. I really want to go for the Chiefs, but I just got a feeling, man, that that Cincinnati team wants to prove they're a Super Bowl winner. I think they have a bad taste in their mouth. I think they feel the last time they had a shot, they could have done it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to kind of lean with them daggone Bengals. But you know what? I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I'm gonna go with the Eagles for, I don't want to say an upset because they're number one seed. I'm gonna go with the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts, man, I was listening to him on an interview today. I think that he's got something to prove, and I look for the Eagles against the Bengals. That's my oddball pick.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, against trouble, just like my 10-7 pick. You saw that went well.
That was horrible. But
wow,
I love
that
that
you had
hope in your team, and that's the awesome part about it. You believed in your Falcons, and you had hope that they would do well, and they actually did. They had a pretty good season for what they were working with.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, yeah, I know if it could have, would have, should have, but if they just called a few more running plays, I could have at least got the 9-8. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. I look for them to do some business next year. I think they really got a shot next year to be a playoff contender. Yeah, I think if they continue to build the team the way it is, I think that Ritter's going to have some phenomenal chemistry with I'm drawing a blank now with their number 5. I think they'll have some great chemistry with him. And I think with Pitts coming back, I think that offense can do some business. I just do. I think they're going to be good to go. Speaking of that, now a lot of Falcons fans, as we talked last week, still got Michael Vick hangovers. So I'm asking this last question real quick. Do you think the Falcons really should go after Lamar Jackson? I mean,
if they could, the fans will like it. It will definitely.
The fans will go berserk. I mean,
the fans will start filling up Mercedes-Benz Arena if they definitely brought Lamar Jackson here, because we all know that Atlanta fans still talk about Michael Vick. Michael Vick is, I mean, you can't go anywhere and talk about football and not hear about Michael Vick, and the fans go crazy about him. And I think that Lamar Jackson would be the next best thing, and they would love it. So for that standpoint, and don't get me wrong, he's a great quarterback. I think that he definitely would help the team. I think he would help take the team to another level, a different level. But they also need to bring in protection and defense as well. But yes, I think it would be a good addition if they could bring him here to Atlanta.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Tyrone.
I said no. Look at what Arthur Smith, what his style of offense is. I believe he would rather have a bruiser. I think he would rather get Henry here before if he could get between Henry and Lamar Jackson, he'd rather get Derrick Henry. And really, then that would help Ritter, because really Ritter would then become just like Teddy Hill in Tennessee. We just need you to drop back, stay in the pocket, and throw the ball where the defense dictates you throw the ball, because we're going to run the ball downhill on them. So, but if you bring Lamar Jackson in, you got a guy who's a superstar. It's just like we talking about the Hawks, okay? Trey Young, they brought in Murray, okay? Hey, somebody's stealing my thunder, man. You're stealing my thunder. So if Lamar Jackson come in, he used to be in the face of the team, okay? So if his play, then
for a second, there we go.
You're going to be unhappy, So now you're going to mess up your chemistry. or you're going to run a lot of RPOs, and that's going to make it easy for a defense to defend you every game because they know you're going to run RPOs. All right. So I don't think he'll be a good fit. Great athlete, great quarterback. But I think coming here to Atlanta, with Arthur Smith, where he's about, I don't think it'll be a good fit.
I'll tell you one thing though, it'll be must-see TV because I can assure you, Arthur Smith, all those plays you saw Mariota running, he'd be dialing them up, buddy boy. He would be dialing up all kind of exotic plays and reverse boots and all kind of stuff. I mean, people be saying, "What on earth this man does a playground football?" I think he'd have a good time with him. But I think going back to what Tree was saying, I think the amount of draft capital and players you have to give up to get them, you could find yourself in the position that Minnesota was in. The Vikings were a few years back, and of course it's different. They're not, Falcons are clearly more than one player away from getting to a Super Bowl. But sometimes, man, you can mortgage the house and actually can destroy you over the, next 3, 4, 5 years. So, but I will say, man, if they can get him for like a reasonable deal, I don't know. I
say this. What's your end goal? This is my question to you, Jonathan. What is your end goal? Is your end goal a championship, or is your end goal just to have a product on the field that people love to see?
Well, now it's interesting that you mentioned that because obviously I want to see a Super Bowl, but I don't want to see quote unquote a perennial contender because that's kind of what Arthur Blank had talked about, the Falcons every year being relevant, which is it's great. It's better than being a bum. But it's a tough thing, man, because you think about it from an owner's point of view, it's kind of like what the late Sonny Werblin was owner of the Jets when Joe Namath was drafted. I always remember this quote. He saw the owner's wife, and he was talking about this, that, and the other thing, and she stopped him, and she said, well, Joseph, we're in the entertainment business. And at the end of the day, man, these guys are trying to make money. So if Lamar Jackson come in here, I'm sure Mr. Blank wants a Super Bowl trophy before he dies. But if this guy can come in here and make him a lot of money, I don't know.
And you know what's going to happen? With what you just said, he come in making plays. You know what the fans going to start saying? Well, Arthur Blank, you need to get him some help. Get him some help. He out there running the ball. He going to get injured. He running the ball too much. So, again, build a team. I said this day, and I'll say it tomorrow, and you could look back in the past. Never seen a team win a Super Bowl where they had a quarterback who just ran the ball more than he threw the ball. Okay, look at the quarterbacks in the NFC Championship, AFC Championship. Even Jalen Hurts, they're teaching him how to stay back there and throw that ball. So again, that's just what it is, man. It's cool to be able to run the ball to get out of trouble, but your job is to throw the ball, man. Throw the ball. So now give me that guy who we're gonna have him throw from the pocket. That's why we pay that money to the running backs to run the ball. Yeah, it's good to have that quarterback and you can fake it and then boom, 3rd and 1, and boom, he run and get the first down, get on out of bounds. But you don't want to make that your main offense, man. You don't win championship. And championship bring people to the stadium. All right. You don't believe me? Go ask them New England Patriots fan. Boy, look here. They selling out every year because they're like, man, this could be the game right here that a record is broken, or we know we're gonna have a great season. I want to make sure I don't miss no game. All right. And you could possibly get that too, with an exciting player. But, man, when you know your team is always in the hunt for that Super Bowl, dude, it ain't hard to sell tickets.
We already know, man. Everybody likes a winner. At the end of the day, I'll stay with this. I mean, unless they could get him for something reasonable. Because, again, if you strip the whole team, you're right. What good is to have the guy here running around for his life? And, you can't defend him. You don't have the right defense around him. So I agree. So, anyway, all that being said, if they can get him for the right price, come on. Because he'd be very exciting to see. But in the real world, I think that Desmond Ridder is the guy. And by having him under that by having him under that rookie contract, and with the Falcons having all this money, it really does allow them to build a really solid team around them, very much like what they did when they got Matt Ryan a few years back. They got a good running attack behind them. They had some decent offensive linemen. And then the big thing was they brought in the Predator, John Abraham, to give them that rush off the line. The Falcons had about a 6 or 7 year run where they were in the hunt every year. So I think they do that again with Ridder. Well, one thing we got to do again is let everybody know how they can find out more about our guests and our host here before they go. So, you know how we do it. Mr. Tyrone Poole, the floor is yours.
I'll say this. Desmond Ridder You watching the show, man, I'm in your corner, partner. I bet you can get it done, man. All right, you heard it here first. All right, so when you become that superstar, you heard it here first. But Tyrone Poole, 38, all social media. All right. Reader, there's none. Reader.
He got a fan of Tyrone Poole in the building. All right, Ms. Tree Dolman, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. You can find me on social media at Purple Diva 13 and Ms. America International 2022.
Look at that smile. That's the smile of a beauty queen. Amen.
Aw, thank you.
All right, guys, we'll wrap it up real quick because we've got to get out of here. Yeah, I'm a real live minister, not the cracker box type. I actually have a real license. Anyway, follow me and the show anywhere on social media. Let me get that up here at Real Talk Sports and number 7. Or you can follow me personally at Minister J Simmons. That's Minister, the letter J, SIMM. Please, if you got a great sports story, something compelling to talk about, please let me know. Hit me up at jsimmons@realtalksports.net. That's J, the letter SIMMONS at realtalksports.net. Or just simply give me a call, 678-410-9833. All right, guys, we got a new year here. Why don't you make it a new you? If you don't know the Lord Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, please get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. He died for you and he rose from the dead, said something great can happen to you. Number 1, you become a citizen of the kingdom of heaven. And number 2, you become an adoptive child of God with all the rights therein. That means now you can ask God as a loving parent for anything that you desire or need, and according to his will, he'll give it to you. And when you leave this planet, you get to go to the most spectacular place ever even envisioned, called heaven. Everything's beautiful. Everything's lovely. You never get old. There's no more pain. You never die. It's sunny and beautiful because the glory of God illuminates the place. And you avoid that nasty place called hell where all the bad people are. It stinks. It's dark. It's dreary. And most of all, you cut off from God. Jesus Christ, all the people that love him and love you, some of those people, forever and a day. I don't know about you, but like option number 1 instead of option number 2. All right, everybody, until the next time when we see you again, we say as we always do, God bless you and have a wonderful rest of your evening or day. So long.